Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along once more to Apex Online Racing's Formula 3 League, played and driven and hosted in Assetto Corsa. A rather fantastic few series we've had in the past here, and this series, I'm sure, will be absolutely no exception whatsoever. Trying to get audio levels sorted in the pre-stream, as we had some issues last time out with audio levels from in-car to outside of car. Hopefully they will be alleviated tonight. Good evening, everybody. My name is Eike Sky, and along with Baćo, our co-commentator and now series coordinator alongside Sarv, we will be taking you through Tier 1 of the Formula 3 League that we are looking forward to. The guys are just wrapping up with their practice sessions. Jump on board with Alan very briefly in the 41 car. Rather nice livery there. Don't think the livery pack changed from last season. We'll jump on board with him just for a second to see how our audio levels are, because they seem to have changed again. And once again, they appear to be too loud. Unless I'm going completely mental. Anyway, I do try to be around in chat for anyone who wishes to have any questions or points of rising. Aspects definitely off. Is it? It's really not. Oh no, that's just the camera position. Yeah, it's off on my screen as well. It's just these cars, they have the camera off to the left of the antenna at the top of the air intake, above the driver's head. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can really do about that. Monitoring on... Yes, it really is strange. It really is peculiar, but that's what's happening. Quickly. Oh, I see. So, into the comm box. Still in the practice session we are in Tier 1, so it's very, very nice to have him along so soon. Is Baćo. Welcome again to the comm box, and I'm very much looking forward to sharing the comm box with you again over these 10 evenings, 10 weeks of races we have. I am not hearing you, mate. Are you muted, perchance? There's some... It wouldn't be the same if we didn't have technical issues on the first race. I'm not deafened or anything like silly like that. And you should... Give me a second, I'll try the really obvious ones. Nope, that is correct as well. Oh, okay. Maybe you don't have permission in this room? That would be weird. Minor artifacting at full screen. Okay, cool. No, that's absolutely fine. Perfect. I was expecting that, but not a lot we can really do about that. Give me half a second. Really silly. One sec. Can you talk to me in here, Mally? Nope, you can't. I don't have you muted. There's nothing going on. Oh, it really wouldn't be. It really wouldn't be the first race without technical issues. What is going on here? But 30 seconds to go. Definitely scored. Yep, welcome to a new season. If you haven't been here before, we're about to. This is how it normally goes. It's not that you're not on push. You've not changed anything. You've just done a driver briefing, so your mic's definitely working, which implies it's something on my end. Give me half a second. I'm going to refresh Discord. Just on the off chance. Thankfully, the action won't stop. Just because we're having technical issues.
Hello?
Hello, Melly. I can hear you now. I do like it when things go according to plan.
So, let me just repeat myself.
Yes.
It goes like this. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ike. It's great to be back in the comm box with you.
Yes, absolutely.
For these 10 weeks, which are consisted of 17 races, starting off with a double race at Barcelona.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You did message me before the season began with just a few points arising that we should probably bring to the viewers' attention as we're approaching a new season. Different things are changed, and Apex are always looking to try and freshen up the formula and keep things entertaining and interesting for everybody involved.
Yes, indeed. Well, the first major change is that I became a coordinator of Formula 3 in Assetto Corsa, so I will be helping out Sarv in this job that people don't really know about what's going on, because I guess a lot of drivers think that a coordinator job is comprised of holding driver briefings and posting the spreadsheets with results, but let me tell you, it's much more than that, and I found it the hard way.
Hey, there's only one way to find out sometimes, isn't there?
Yeah, but it was not. We didn't break any schedule, which is really good, and we look like we're on time for tonight.
Yes.
So, some talking points I wanted to cover. You want to?
Yes, I'll let you introduce them, as you will know significantly more about them than I will, especially now.
Yeah, well, I guess we will have some viewers that watched us through Season 2, so you guys are the real MVPs here, but also very good to see a lot of new viewers for tonight. First of all, we have an increase of popularity, and we are actually running 2 tiers this time. The first tier is full. As you can see tonight, we have 20 drivers and us two commentating, so it will be action packed, and it will be a tough thing to do.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to cover the entire field and the action that is going to be ensuing.
Yeah, exactly. So, for those of you who have watched us through Season 2, you will know that we did default setups, and we logged everything for the drivers, so that we just put an accent on driver talent, sort of. But we have actually decided to open some some setup stuff, and for Season 3 of Formula 3 League, drivers are allowed to change tires, allowed to change the very unforgiving suspension of this car, and are allowed to change aero. Furthermore, everyone has a free choice of fuel load, So this is something that provoked interesting strategies in qualifying last season. As you know, drivers had a fixed amount of fuel, and it was a full tank to start the quali. So we saw a lot of banker laps then pushing for the final run. Well, now we don't have that, and we already see some impressive lap times. I think we're actually set to break the lap times of season 2 race at Barcelona.
That's not surprising at all. That it seems to be a much more traditional qualifying layout. Can the drivers change the setup between sessions, or is that fixed?
Yeah, that is allowed.
Okay, so we will probably be seeing drivers with a very, very aggressive, perhaps slightly oversteery setup for qualifying, being able to get that ultimate lap time, but a slightly safer setup for the race, meaning that those guys who are much more comfortable with setting up the suspension geometry of these cars might find themselves with an edge.
That is very true.
Just another nuance. Again, it's just AOR trying to freshen things up and change things around so that it's always an interesting blend of talents that you need to be proficient with. Searching for the word there.
Exactly. I mean, I have monitored both evaluation races, which is also a new thing in Formula 3, and I can tell you some drivers were really impressive. They were fighting side by side, but always very clean, and I expect them to do absolutely the same for tonight.
Yep.
One of these drivers I can tell you was bloody quick was Dennis, currently into P2 in the car number 23.
Yeah.
He finished the evaluation race, I think, 30 seconds ahead of everyone else.
Good grief. Okay, so the Toro Grossa, I will get the name by the end of the season, it has beaten him by 4/10 is actually quite a statement to lay down.
Yeah, I love this how they took places. You know, we have 2 Dutch drivers and 2 Spanish drivers in the mix, but that part has been broken by Mustafa Ake into P3 currently.
Yep.
And you can see the gaps are narrowing and narrowing, and we are only in mid-quali.
Yeah, this is gonna be a absolute breakneck season of drivers trying to prove their mettle in a very competitive field. Currently, if you of the drivers that have set time so far, you ignore the last 2 drivers, which I think were just more of banker laps. It's only 1.6 seconds. When you compare with what we were looking at last season, that is insane.
Yeah.
It's an astonishingly small gap, and that gap's only going to get smaller as the season wears on, isn't it? Really.
Well, I think it's the best thing we can hope for as of this moment.
Absolutely. A spin for Toro Grossa.
Yeah.
He's got some laps in, 4.43 faster than Dennis at the moment in that 23 car.
Yeah, the lovely fake McLaren.
It's such a good colour. It's such a good colour scheme as well. There really is no replacement for that. It is a burnt orange, isn't it? It's not a bright orange, it's not a bronze, it is a burnt orange.
Yeah, well, if I told you there is a good looking car with orange and blue colors, you would
think you're mad.
You would tell that I'm lying.
Yes.
But then you look at this McLaren livery and you're just like, wow.
Yep. Absolutely astonishing. Really, really is good. I'll tell you what, Tim Eintema, running around in 9th at the moment. Eintema, if for those who are well acquainted, pretty much ruled the second half of the season, if I remember correctly. Good grief, it was a while ago. Not so much ruled, but was always up there. And to see him so far down the field is... It's a peculiar feeling, I've got to say.
Yes, well, he finished as a runner-up last season,
That was it, yeah.
and he was very highly placed in season one as well. I'm not quite sure which position he finished in, but I think it was P4 or P5, something like that. So, as most likely the most experienced driver of Formula 3, I can tell you there are no too high expectations for Tim, to be honest.
No, absolutely. And he is a driver that races as well. We saw that in season 2 from the live streams, that he wasn't shy about getting his elbows out and getting the overtakes done where he saw a way past. Currently sat behind Alan. 1 point. The time separating them at the moment is less than 100th of a second. Absolutely I think it's worse than that. I think it's something like 4,000ths. Yeah,
it's 5. And also let me remind you, Clive Allen has competed in season 2 as well.
Absolutely.
Along with Cass Binders, currently in P18, and Kit 462 into P20. So these are the 4 drivers, of course, along with Sarv, currently in P17, that have been around since season 2.
So a few fresh faces.
Quite a few, yeah. Actually, more than half. So these are all new drivers we are seeing, and what's really surprising is that for some of the drivers, this is the first league they are competing in. I mean, first AOR league they are competing in. I'm not sure about their other parts of racing career.
It shows that however bad this this global pandemic is that we're all having to deal with, it doesn't mean that we aren't trying to find the silver lining and try to keep busy. And our F3 drivers as well, a new influx of fresh talent to weather the stages of our AOR leagues.
Yeah, well, it's always looking at the best out of the situation, and I'm really glad that sim racing has taken such a big step, let alone Formula 3, who, well, if I recall correctly, the last race of season 2 was attended by 12 or 13 drivers.
I think it was a rather disappointing number, unfortunately. But
and tonight we have 20 in Tier 1 and I think 16 in Tier 2.
Absolutely
so
fantastic.
36, that's triple.
Yep, absolutely. 3 minutes, just under 3 minutes to go now. You can see both at the top of your screen and in the top left corner above the driver tower. Let me get the name right, come on. Torregrossa is currently leading the way with a 132.570. Behind him is Daniel Fernandez with a 132.8 give or take, separating those two drivers. Then third is Dennis, a driver we've been talking about already. He's going to be fantastic to see the McLaren livery up near the front of the field. McKay in fourth, Mustafa Ake in fourth is just leaving the pits now. Is that a Jordan yellow? No, it's not. It's got green on it. I think
Which one?
Fourth place, Ake.
Yeah, I call that car John Deere car.
That was it, the John Deere car.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, it's been a while. I've driven a few too many races now to quite remember. Behind Ake in fifth is Watts in the red and white 27 car.
That's for some of you may know him as JSR. He has coordinated Assetto Corsa in the past, and most recently he did coordinate the Formula 2000. I think you commentated on that one, right?
I don't think I did. That doesn't sound familiar to me.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I wish I had, honestly, because that sounds awesome. Yeah, that's something that we should. That's something we should get going. Is some of the higher revving, ear bleedy type Formula cars. That sounds fun.
Yeah, well, with a good Formula 3 performance, you can earn a Formula 1 seat, but you first have to do a full season.
Of course, of course. 6th place will be Julian Fries in, is that the 33 car?
That's the 24
it's
car.
Just,
that's the...
Oh, he's in the pits, that's why. Yep. In 7th will be Clive Allen, who we have spoken about in the 41 car. Really good effort from him, getting under a second from Toro Grosso. Purcell in 8th with 30 seconds to go. It looks like the order is just about set. There could be some upsets and spills still, with Eintema 1.29 off the lead, now put down to 10th, with Gonzalez up to 7th position. In which car is that? 29? Nope, the 21 car. Oh, that's a familiar livery. Eintema Belosa, Jose Belosa in 11th. Unai Cabo.
I think
You're
it's
going to have to tell me.
to be honest.
Say that again, sorry?
I think that was Buiosa.
Briosa.
Or something like that. I'm not a polyglot, but...
Well, I'll trust your pronunciation more than I. I am just a humble London lad trying to pronounce his way through the world. Got any suggestions for 12th?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
so,
no, it's just...
P12...
Yeah. Pronunciation
So
of his name. Unai Cabo?
Then in P13 we have Raul Tori. P14 currently Sam Butters in car number 40. Then we have the Yugoslav duo in pink cars. That's Denis Južnić and Mislav Bago. I'm quite sure you cannot pronunciate Južnić right.
No, I'm pretty sure. Južnić.
Yeah, that's good.
It'll do.
You will work your way throughout the season.
Yeah,
Then,
yeah.
Then we have Sarf into P17, P18 occupied by Cas Binders, P19 by Kid462, who has driven in Season 2. Then we have Simone Girotti, who actually won the Macau Social in the build-up, in P20. And currently in P23, I guess that's just a one lap in. That's Lady Oscar, potentially our lady driver.
Potentially.
Well, I'm not sure yet.
We haven't spoken to them.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Nope, that's absolutely fine. In fairness, that's something that we have seen from the rise of esports these past few weeks. Is that girls don't need any fancy sponsorships, or they don't need men to help them. There are women out there. They have the talent, they have the drive to race, and will take it to the guys where needed. While the drivers are getting set up for their first of 2 races, then I will get the calendar up for the 10 race nights that we're going to be having in this season this time around.
Let me just break in here. I'm sorry for doing
Fine.
it, but front row lockout by Spaniards, teammates, and the gap is 2 1,000ths.
Oh my goodness, that's...
So 132.320 compared to 132.322. These guys are really leading the way.
That's astounding. Mind you, at their home track, we would expect that from the Spanish teams. So as the drivers get their race setups put in place, their fuel loads right, their tyre pressures set to a position where they are happy with them, we have a look at the calendar for this season 3 of Assetto Corsa Formula 3 that we're going to be enjoying this time around. So as you can see at the top there, Barcelona-Catalunya GP, 2 times 30-minute races will be holding tonight. Then next week on the 18th of May, Red Bull Ring, another double header with 2 30-minute sprint races. 25th will be a 60-minute almost endurance of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Then the 1st of June we'll be visiting Vallelunga for 2 30-minute sprints. Mugello, are they going already? Oh, they are. We have got no time at all The drivers
yeah,
are...
great start by Dennis into P5. It seems that Spaniards are taking the toe, and we have an out by car number 21, but
Already
all eyes
out.
are now into turn 1 as we go 3 wide. That's actually cleaner than I thought for now.
That's good news.
That's Mustafa Ake into P3 currently.
Yep,
And
okay.
Jonathan Watts has dropped down the order, taking Dennis and Julian Rees up the grid into P4 and P5.
Corsa is stuck on the outside of turn 3, but gets the inside line in 11th to get up the inside of Tori. See if they can make that stick. The 20 car, no, Tori is in front up the outside, and under braking through the quick left-right will take the position, but Cabo on the outside ran wide into the gravel. It's all action on the first lap, and I'm still trying to reel from how little time we had trying to get that start underway. Good grief, jumping up to the front of the field, the two Spaniards again, as Malayu said, getting away from the field at a rate of knots. The John Deere car of Ake being a bit of a stopper on this first lap, maybe just not quite happy with where the tyres were given to him on the starting grid. Has got Dennis behind him and is going to go defensive straight away as they come into the DRS zone for the first time. Someone is off so wide. Tori in that, where are they? Off into the gravel, and spinning still is Tori as they go around the last corner. Will make it way back onto the circuit, but is in last of our runners.
Yeah, meanwhile we have Kasminders retire because of a crash in turn 4, I believe.
Ah, that's upsetting.
In turn 5, yeah. So, not a great start of the season, but I know Kas can actually move up and fight back from it. But I think no one is fighting the Spaniards tonight. They're already boasting 1.2 second lead ahead of everyone else. And we have Dennis. I think he will be launching an attack onto Mustafa Ake. Let's see the braking zone of the back straight coming down to hairpin. Well, no exotic maneuvers. Seems like Dennis had a tighter line.
Yep, there is, however, 27 minutes left to go in this race. There is more than enough time for them to make that move, but if Dennis is going to make it happen, he's got to make it happen in a very, very sensible place.
Let's jump on board with Dennis. I think there might be an attack into turn 1, so Mackay has gone a bit wide now, going fully to the inner side of the track to try and defend it to turn 1. He's really active about defending, may I say. So he made his statement quite early on. Now that was a bit of roadblock under braking. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
And we see they're going side by side. Actually, Dennis
takes it around the outside.
Around the outside of turn 3. Very well done.
Yep, superb. That move was started all the way back at the start of the start-finish straight, if you really think about it. Pushing Ake all the way to the inside. Really compromised his line into turn 1, and then turn 1, 2, 3 is just one complete flow. If you start it wrong, you're going to finish it way out of the pace. And you can see the pace that Dennis has now. Really a bit of a shame that he got stuck behind the 39 car for so long. And a look up the inside for Vries at the hairpin and has made it stick. He has the inside line coming up the hill, and the left-hander lends him the place. Now eyes on a K as Watts is now looking to make the pass as well.
That's a very late switch actually to the inside, but really good execution.
Absolutely, it's the way to do it.
I wonder if Ake has pace to fight for the podium, or did he have, let's say, more luck at the start to have a better pull away? Because he's now attacked by Jonathan Watts. He goes down the inside to try and defend again. Looks tidier on the braking, but let's see if Jonathan Watts can pull the same maneuver around the outside of turn 3.
He's going for it. Nope.
Yeah, it seems like a mistake, because you can't really correct into turn 3. Once you take your line, you're committed to it. You are not... Well, you can correct it, but it's going to cost a load of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And guess who's breathing down the neck of Jonathan Watts? It's Tim Eintema and Clive Allen. Now, these are seasoned drivers, and Clive Allen seems to be taking all chances he has. Can he launch a move down the braking zone?
Well, does
Let's
he
jump on board with Clive?
Absolutely. I don't think that Clive is necessarily in a rush to get past Eintema per se. I think it's the rest of the drivers in front that they're wanting to get past ideally, so they can have their own clean battle. You can see there's a little bit of patience, and he's braking a little bit early to give himself a bit of space coming up now onto the start-finish straight. We'll keep with him on this roof cam view, as they say. Big swerve to the inside, trying to get the draft off of Eintema in front. He's done his fastest lap of the race so far with that 1:35.5. Down into the braking section now. A little bit of air now between Eintema and Allen here.
Yeah, but Tim Eintema is pushing on Jonathan Watts now.
Yep.
Still seems to be making a mistake into turn 3. Watts has a much tighter line and gets away with it.
Turn 4, Eintema pushing himself properly wide there, under braking, kind of locking up the front right as well. Not the kind of thing you want to be doing in these cars, as in a race like this it can start to punish you very quickly.
Correct.
So now up the hill through that first sector, you can see how Clive properly got up to the back of Eintema there, ran a little bit wide with the washout from the Formula 3 car in front. But we'll make up all of that time, and we look up to the front of there as Eike, I think that was, just looking up the inside of Fries in 4th place. So
yeah, that was a cheeky move.
It's not all cut and dry. Yeah, it was a cheeky move that Fries made on Eike, though. Perhaps trying desperately to mirror the maneuver back. I don't think Eike has the out-and-out pace. It's definitely that DRS and the draft from Vries that's keeping him on pace. But maybe he's got a setup that is designed to work in the draft of other cars.
Oh my god, this guy is driving down the start-finish straight and going from one side of another. It really reminds me of Subway Surfers.
Yes,
they are switching
absolutely.
right, left, and oh my god, it's so funny.
And now Eike coming down into turn 4 with what's right on his bumper yet again. Got to be very careful with these cars. Very susceptible to damage, although not quite as bad as some of the cars that we see in these sims. Bit of a kick for Eike there. What is going on further down the grid? Sava and Cabo has thrown it off the track again. Perhaps getting a little bit too greedy through turn 2, and has lost it to the inside. That puts him back down to 19th now. Other drivers around the field. Boas was 12th place. Jose Buosa.
Yeah.
There we go. Currently putting a bit of pressure on Butters there in 11th. Coming up towards the top of the hill. It looks like he's got the pace. Just a case of nailing that pass. Torregrossa gets the fastest lap of the race. Go on.
It seems that Tim Eintema had a better run out of the last corner on Jonathan Watts. We might see a lunge into
Fantastic.
turn 1. Tim goes on the inside. Let's see who's brave on the brakes. Oh, the side by side. That's great maneuvers. And it seems like a bit of contact. So Tim goes past, and so goes Clive Allen for now. Let's see who gets a better run through turn 3. Seems like Jonathan Watts, but Clive can brake. Yeah, he didn't go for the lunge down the inside onto turn 4, but can he make it out in turn 5? No, not yet,
No,
but
not yet.
that seems like a slight lockup of Jonathan Watts there.
Yep, absolutely. But Eintema is now free. Let's see what hay he can make while the sun shines with 0.9 of a second to the car in front. It's not a massive amount of space, but he does not need a massive amount of space. We've seen Eintema having some fantastic pace over previous seasons. That isn't going to change here this season as well, and we've also seen him have some absolutely mammoth drives from sometimes the back of the field to get to the positions that he has finished in. Caspina's dropping into chat now. Decent launch, being patient as usual, got dive bombed into turn 5 and spun into the wall. Really, really unfortunate.
Oh, Jonathan Watts makes a mistake out of the chicane and Clive Allen goes past like nothing has happened. Very well done by Clive, but now Jonathan has the toe, and he stands a chance of overtaking back. He goes for the inside into turn 1, and oh, that's a bit unfair, let me say. And yeah, Watts moves aside and lets Clive Allen back in. So very good sportsmanship.
Yes, yeah. Although in fairness, I would suggest it was more of a Clive should have been looking, but I'm not gonna say for the politeness of other drivers. That's absolutely something that is up to the drivers to sort out. What else?
Maitama is looking like.
Oh wow.
He's looking impatient with Mackey, and we saw Mackey. Actually, I saw him launch an attack on Freeze, so he might have lost some time fighting him. So let's see if Tim can make this to his to advance.
Yep, I think it's not going to be very long until we see Eintema in that 5th place. We're on board with him now as he shadows the yellow Formula 3 car. On the brakes, you can see Eintema is so much more confident in the car, even with a kick of oversteer. He's just so happy to sit on the AstroTurf on the outside of the course. A little bit of air between the two drivers at the moment, but that's nothing. Eintema is going to have a significant amount of confidence come to sectors 2 and 3 once again, and you will find him up on the back of a K in no time at all. We jump to the leaders very briefly as the two Spanish teammates having, well, a bit of a time of it really, aren't they? Out in the lead, a 5-second gap back to Dennis, who is not making any progress on them by the looks of it. So it's simply a case of which one of these two cars does the team want to win? Do they have a number 1 and a number 2 driver, or are they simply looking for who is going to take the most points come the end of the year?
Well, even if they did number 1 and number 2, I think with another 16 races to go, it's too early to call.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. Further down the field, Eintema still a little bit of air between himself and Ake. Maybe just be building up to a pass in 14th Purcell. Looking at the back of Junzik.
You butchered it a bit.
Oh, was it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Jusnik. Ah, damn it. It's Jusnik, not Junzik.
Not correct yet, but you did your consonants.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, it's just the wobbles.
Oh, man.
Such a shame for Cass, for his situation, but I know he can fight back. I mean, he has been my teammate for the first half of the season 2, and it's pushy with him. It's definite.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, totally feel for him. Had a lot of. There's been more than enough DNFs that everyone has suffered to be able to commiserate with that kind of. Not. It's a racing incident, isn't it? It's just one of those things that happens.
By the way, I'm looking at Tim Eitema currently. He's 2/10 faster than Eike last
Wow.
lap, and now sets a purple sector 1. So looks like Tim is pushing it, but currently he's a bit far off behind, as he seems to make a mistake in sector 2. He did a half a second slower sector 2 than Mustafa Eke. So it's at the end of the lap it evens out, but it seems that Tim has the pace through sector 1. Now, having these open aero setups, I would definitely prioritize turn 3 in my setup, because it's the one that you can take flat out, of course, but do you really need all the downforce?
Yeah.
You can spare some for the straight and have a much faster run down there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, as well, is that the DRS does allow for a little bit of rear aero allowance when it comes to aero setup. Because if you are going to be with the way that the Assetto Corsa handles DRS, unfortunately, there's not really any way you can police it. So it's the case of he who dares gets the aero reduction, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Now looking at Sam Butters into P12, he has Mislav Bago ahead of him, and Mislav is making a bit too much mistakes to keep this position. He has already been overtaken by Jose Buyosa, and you can see he's taking these corners really deep. So I think it's a matter of corner. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Sam Butters overtakes him. Probably he
Into
will...
this happen?
Maybe? No.
Oh, not looking. He's not looking. A very patient man is Butters, apparently, just waiting for the mistake, apparently.
They make a slight touch as Mislav has a slight of oversteer, and now he's into clutches of his teammate Denis Juznic, who, well, not anymore, because Denis has made an off, and now is led by, I think, Kit 462. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, who gets a big kick of oversteer on the exit of the chicane, and is that going to be the side by side coming down the straight? Juznic getting a brilliant run off of the final corner, both cars with DRS open. Is that going to be the pass? Yeah, easily. And up ahead, the pink and white cars battling in the same way as we just saw the other two of Purcell and Mislav.
Yeah. Cutting back to the top 10, Mustafa Ake has made his way past Julian Fries, and now Tim Eintema is looking to take the 5th spot in the row. Really, different lines through hairpin. There's not actually the one line you have to take, so I love these corners where you can actually try different stuff every time out and make it work.
Yes, absolutely. It looks like Fries has used up the best of his tyres, though. That was not a very confident line into the hairpin. We'll see how he holds it coming through the last corner. He seems to be okay and still looking to get into the draft, so he's not given up yet, not by a long shot.
Yeah, but Tim Eintema also had a mistake going out of the last chicane. He had a snap of oversteer, call it a power slide if you want. But it looks like a battle for P4. P3 seems out of reach currently.
Yes, yeah, 5-second gap between Ake and Denis. Not the kind of pace that we want to be sharing, but it just goes to show how formidable and how difficult to run on this Barcelona track is. It's just hard on every aspect of the car, because some of these corners You really want a high downforce setup, really.
Oh, there has been an accident in turn 1. Lady Oscar spun after making contact with Unai Cabo. They were going side by side into turn 1, but it seems to me that Lady Oscar has cut the line too short and now is in P18.
Yep.
Or perhaps, yeah, P18 and P19 currently. Sarv.
Oh, and
is
she's
not
got damage.
Too far off.
They've got damage.
Oh.
And have just spun off into the wall. Meanwhile, Toro Grossa sets the fastest lap of the race. I think this may be race over for Oscar here. Struggling.
Well,
It's a shame we can't see the damage readout in the cars, really.
Yeah, the two at the front are sometimes their pace is not matching. Actually, sometimes it's Alex who is slower, and sometimes it's Daniel who is falling back into clutches of Alex. So I think they will fight it off towards the end of the race. So what an exciting intro to the season.
Yeah, absolutely. The gauntlet really has been thrown down after the excitement of last season, and these drivers are absolutely fulfilling exactly what we were looking for. Now, I was actually just keeping an eye on Oscar for a moment there to see if they were going to make it back to the pit, either back to the pit or if they were going to get back onto the road, because it looked as though they were struggling trying to get the car facing the right way.
Well, we have the answer now, going onto the straight. And meanwhile we have Simone Girotti in the pits, which might look like retirement actually. But nothing is as entertaining as watching the fight for P4 between Mustafa Eke, Julian Vries and Tim Eitema respectively. So 2 Dutchies against a Turk. And no one seems to be pulling the edge here currently. So two of them are waiting for the third one to make a mistake.
Yes.
The higher you are, the likelier you are to make a mistake. Sorry, I didn't do commentating for a while, so being my second language, my English has become a bit rusty now.
Absolutely, no, that's absolutely fine. Yes, unfortunately, I see there's someone in chat saying that they want us to focus on the top 5. Unfortunately, we have to be impartial with our coverage, as there are fights up and down the field. Evidence of such 2 teammates, Yuznik and Mislav, currently fighting together down in 13th and 14th, only 0.3 between them. It would be very unfair to not give these drivers coverage as well, just because they are further down the grid. Sean Purcell in the 7 car, a little bit of space to himself down in 12th position. That's always good for racing, but not brilliant for watching.
Let's cut to Daniel and Alex. Sorry for interrupting. They're going down the final straight, and the gap is really low. Now only a 10th. Will Alex launch an attack? No, he won't. So a crazy part of me thinks they are keeping this for the last lap.
Yes. I wonder how much they're actually communicating and how much this is actually a team game, and whether these two are just out for their own benefit. They've kept it very close together this entire time. You'd have thought that if there was any kind of team running that they were doing, they would leave a little bit more space between each other. But we'll jump on board when they come around to the end of the lap. We'll jump on board very quickly with Toro Grossa, and see what this Barcelona circuit has to offer in terms of the driver's eye view, let's say.
Oh, you want to do the lap?
Yeah, we'll do a hot lap as we're coming down to the spicy end of the race. Come through the final chicane now. And round the last corner. I desperately get this up. There we go. And on board we jump with Alex Torregrossa. Would you like to take us round, Mally?
Hold on, I'm focusing on a fight between Tim Eintema and Julian Vries. They're now really close and in the tow. Let's see if Tim Eintema will launch an attack because Mackay is pulling away. So outside goes Tim Eintema. Can he make this stick? No, because...
but maybe.
It's very close. Side by side with Julian Vries. Takes the longer way, but he can make a move into turn 4. Let's see if he can do it. Julian Vries goes really defensive, blocking that outside line. Tim Eintema currently doesn't have an answer for it, but turn 5, can he launch down the inside? No, he opts not to do it as Julian Vries makes a slight mistake on the braking, and it seems that we will be waiting for turn 9 to see some action. But Tim Eintema is hungry. He wants to get that P5. I can tell you that. I feel it over here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as he's coming up over Campra down towards the hairpin at turn 10 here. Not going to make the move yet.
Yeah, it doesn't seem the gap is too big, but
yeah.
Let's for a short while switch to Alex Torregrossa and Daniel. They're also 1/10 away from each other. Come on, guys, let's make a move. Let's do something for our viewers. Let's think about the show. Don't think about team points. Come on.
I don't think they are. I think this is Torregrossa's genuine pace against Fernandez's legitimate pace. I think these drivers are just so close in performance. You can see the slightly different line being taken by Alex there through turn 4. Now down into the hairpin, and now is he leaving a gap to be able to wind up for another pass? Give his teammate a bit of a false sense of security, maybe.
Who knows? It's also about mind games now. But do you want to do the lap now, as we have seen some gaps stabilize?
Yeah, we will jump on with Torregrossa still, as that is going to be an interesting fight. Yeah, we will. And get the proper view. There we go. And now round the last chicane. Turns 14 and 15. I have my opinions about the chicane. I voiced them last year. I still hold those same opinions. And now round turn 16 of New Holland, and across the start-finish line, a little bit of air now separating Torregrossa from his teammate in front. Now heavy braking from a very, very long straight into Elf turn 1 third gear. Yep, and then feather the throttle through turn 2, Renault turn 3, this long right-hander that never seems to end. Absolutely kills both front and rear left-hand tyres, depending on which car you're in. And now down into 4, which is Repsol. Another long right-hander. By now, the front left and the rear left will be screaming for help, and they get a bit of respite in turn 5 at Seat. A sharp left-hand hairpin. A minute left on this race, then we'll have perhaps one more lap as they go through 7 and 8. Now up the hill toward Campsa, just feathering the throttle through 4th gear. Use as much of the road on the outside as you very well dare. And now down to the tight La Caxa hairpin. I think I pronounced that right. Just missing the apex there for Alex slightly. Not so much a time penalty there, but up through here you really want to get your lines pretty much spot on through through turn 12. 13, the new section, I will continue to call it that, square right into a square left into a square right, just to slow the cars down for this absolutely astonishing final corner at New Holland. And now across the line for what will be the last time, he says, with a question at the end.
Correct.
Excellent, so we don't have to do an extra lap in this championship, which is lovely to see.
Let's cut back to Team Eintelma. He made a mistake trying to attack Julian Rees, and now Jonathan Watts is in his tow, so both know that this is the last lap, but both are very seasoned. I hope this goes out cleanly.
No.
Oh, Jonathan Watts tries to push the inside. Wow, that's a great line as they go side by side into turn 2 and turn 3. Let's see who can stick with the racing line. Team Eintelma goes a bit wider, which leaves him a better place for turn 4, but he's too far off to launch an attack onto Jonathan Watts.
And a big slide from Eintelma as well. Wow. So we had to wait till the last lap, but that was an astonishing move from Watts there.
Yeah, I'd call this a move of the race.
Absolutely, absolutely. There was a car's width there on the inside of Eintelma. I'm sure he did not think that that Watts was going to go for that space, because it's such a sweeping first corner that there's no line there. There's absolutely no line. If you mess up, you are in the gravel or you are off the inside, riding all over those curbs, damaging your car. And yes, it is the last lap, but at the same time, what's an extremely brave move to claim that 6th position off Eintelma, and the Spaniards at the top of the order have finished the race. Fernandez finishing first, Torregrossa in second. Across the line will go Dennis and then McKay as well.
Oh, there's a fight for P12. Sam Butters and Kid 462, they're going nearly side by side. I think this might be some last lap shenanigans. Let's see if Sam Butters tries to launch a dive bomb. No, Kit makes a mistake, goes wide into the left-hander, then into right-hander, leaves some space as he goes flying over that sausage curb. And oh, that's another spin. Let's hope he doesn't get collected by anyone. Clive Allen is right behind. Not sure what happened to Clive Allen. Perhaps an unscheduled stop or mistake.
Perhaps, but oh my goodness. So Eintelma, we covered. Gonzalez will come across the line in 8th. Bosa in 9th. Purcell will come home in 10th. Yuznik in 11th. Butters 12th. Come the finish line. Kit 462 in 13th. Clive Allen will come home in 14th. 15th will be Tori. 16th will be Mislav Cabo in 17th, Sav 18th, and Oscar in 19th. Oscar getting to the finish line, albeit a lap down. Good to see that perseverance from a new AOR driver. That's definitely something that we enjoy seeing. And now as we look at the start-finish straight, the leaders, our last car has just crossed the start-finish line and the leaders are already coming into the pits. One interesting first race. As we had the joy to see. So, with this session ending, hopefully, we will get a nice overlay come up of how the race finished. It would be nice. Just need all of the drivers to get back to the pit lane. Baćo, coordinator of AOR Formula 3. What was your take on that first race? Give me your rundown of how you think that went.
Well, if this is just an introduction to this season, I think we will see a great content on these live streams, but of course, great racing. You know, this fight for P4 was done by 4 guys, actually, or no, it was a fight for P3, but Dennis pulled away from Eike, so there was a 5 guys fight for a single position. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And something worth mentioning as well is this Barcelona-Catalunya track is a very unique track, isn't it? It's a very yeah, it's definitely got a signature to it that you don't see very often. As what session are we in now?
So
This is
we're now
30-minute
going
practice.
to race 2, and I saw a comment on YouTube by Enter Elementalist asking how points work for race 1 and race 2. So both races are equivalent. P1 gets 16 points, and so on. The points are awarded for top 10.
There we go.
And you're never asking too much because everything is new since the last season. So uh, you would be out of the loop even if you watched the last season, let alone if you just joined us.
Absolutely.
And also, I saw someone else asking if spots are available. Yes, they are. We have 4 main spots available for this season. So go ahead and check out the AOR forums and well, come race with us, and you will hear Ike and me covering your racing. So we are now into a top 10 reverse grid, which sees Daniel Fernandez and Alex Torregosa start from P10 and P9 respectively, and promoting Sean Purcell into P1. This is going to be an interesting one, may I say. Because let's see if the Spaniards can work their way back up. In fact, I would jump on board with Daniel Fernandez for the start to see how big of an advantage he has. Actually, both Spaniards have off the line. So it's 5 seconds until we go out, 5 red lights, and we are off. So good start from. Actually, not a good start from Daniel Fernandez. He's already being challenged by Denis Yuznic, and he drops to P11 right off the grid. But oh, that's a big dive down the inside as he regains perhaps even P9. Drivers will really want to stick to their position. Oh, and we see, I think that was Mackey coming together with Dennis. Not the cleanest run through turn 3, but they were pushing it. They were really pushing it. And Daniel Fernandez has nothing against it as he goes already past Dennis. So by my calculation, that would be P7 right now. And you see a 3 wide right ahead of him. So this is going to be very eventful.
Yes, absolutely. Torregrosa up the inside of Yuznik.
Yes, great run through turn 7, I believe.
And the 48 car of... who is that? Butters on... oh, okay, going a little bit wide, getting a little bit there. Coming...
oh, Dennis goes down the inside of turn 9, and so goes Alex Torregrosa. This is right on the edge, pushing Daniel Fernandez out of track.
There was a crash behind them as well in the hairpin. Oh man, okay, so our race leaders from last time out already up to 8th and 9th, but in the reverse order from where we saw them, so Torregrosa being a little bit more handy in the traffic as they try to get up towards the head of the field. These are going to be our main drivers to be focusing on, unfortunately, and Torregrosa already up past the 24 of Reese.
Yes, does it very good, and now Reese is under challenge by Daniel Fernandez. He made a mistake into turn 1, but Fernandez seems to be going too wide. And right ahead of them are Jonathan Watts and I believe Team
Dennis.
Maitland. No, it's
Dennis. Yep.
Ahead of Jonathan Watts. So these two will have their say in this battle, I'm very sure.
Absolutely. We've just seen some fantastic driving from Watts. He's not cooled down from that. He's still right on the very edge of adrenaline pumping around his system, so he is more than ready to bring this fight to the Spaniards, who Alex is the first that is going to try and attack him. Everyone has their DRS open, making the most of that drag reduction system, which is obviously not unique to these F3 cars, but they do bring an interesting aspect to the races.
What's unique to Assetto Corsa is due to game limitations, everyone is able to use DRS at any time in DRS zones, so DRS doesn't really function like it's supposed to be in Assetto Corsa, but we have nothing against it, and everyone is playing Subway Surfers right again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So there, seems that Watts has made a mistake and he's letting Torregrossa by. Probably worse run out of the last corner. So
I was going to say, I don't think that was necessary. This is the problem when it comes to setup. Is it may not necessarily be that Watts had a worse, made a mistake or anything. It could just be that the setup isn't quite as fast as Torregrossa's in front of him now.
yeah, well, on the exit of the last chicane, he will find that green surface, which is kind of slippery. And let me tell you, Formula 3 cars do like slippery roads. So. Whoa, one inch too far and you're off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why we see some mistakes into turn 8, for example, on the right-hand kink, and also into turn 9 going to the back straight.
Yep, absolutely. Now, this ridiculous train of cars that we're looking at is not necessarily difference on pace at this point in time. It's just because with the shuffle that the reverse grid has given us, all these drivers are similarly hampered by the aerodynamic draft that's being thrown up by the cars in front of them. Alex Torregrossa, who was setting 132s last time out, is currently setting 134.3 as his fastest lap as he comes across the start-finish line for a second time. 133.9 it comes down to. He's still a second off his race pace from last time out.
And we have Daniel Fernandez making his way past Julian Rees, who took an evasive action.
Yep.
Now over the speed bump, that's really losing time, a lot of time. I think that's Mustafa Ake right next to him taking the, what's supposed to be P8, I believe.
No. Rees is now down in 12th position behind Butters.
Oh yeah, that's Butters, sorry. Wrong John Deere.
Yes, yeah, easily confused, unfortunately. But what are we looking at? So, Torregrossa on the back of Dennis. This should be a fight worth watching. I can't imagine Dennis is going to be happy with letting that Spaniard past.
And fun fact, this race is also led by two Spaniards.
Is it?
Yeah, Alonso Gonzalez and Jose Buyosa leading the way. But I'm sure Alex Torregrossa and Daniel Fernandez will be coming their way, along with Dennis. But I think Team Eintema is having a really good place here, because once he gets past Sean Purcell, which I doubt would happen in a long time from now, even though he's being under heavy attacks by Dennis, I think Team Eintema stands a chance of taking the lead and actually holding off both Alex Torregrossa and Daniel Fernandez, as now Dennis goes into the toe of Team Eintema, switches for the outside, but there's Sean Purcell, 3 wide coming into turn 1. That's not going to end good. Good grief.
Wow, Dennis discretion being the better part of valor there, giving way to the drivers on the inside. Eintema still in 4th position for the time being, and Purcell maintaining that 3rd position just by the skin of his teeth. Brilliant driving from all involved to not cause a major issue there in turn 1.
Dennis is sending down the inside.
Yep.
Will he manage to
pull
one into turn 7? Will Team Eintema...
Will he know he's there? No. Eintema retains the pace, just having the outside line, allowing himself to brake a little bit later, gave him that place back from what was almost certainly a place loss.
Oh, Dennis goes wide onto sand, and Alex Torregrossa now goes past him, but Dennis is not giving in at all. Late braking, just sticking into the curb. Beautiful
covering of the inside there by Dennis around the hairpin. He knew that Torregrossa was going to try and take the inside if he dare run wide, because he was driving so defensively. But brilliant move from Dennis to keep that car right on the inside so that there was no way that Alex could get past.
Let's see what happens with Daniel Fernandez and Jonathan Watts for P7. Seems that John had a better run, but yeah, it's not going to happen. at least not now.
And
They seemed really close in the chicane, but it seems that Watts had a very good exit out of the chicane, and holding Alex Torgrosa, Daniel Fernandez, at the back.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, as with the drivers who were walking away from the field from almost a second a lap at some points, now you've put them in traffic, they are struggling. So these drivers not as much into the whole passing thing as the hot lapping thing, it seems at the moment. However, Torregrossa is really putting the fight on for Dennis in 6th at the moment, just trying to build up some space there now. But it's only going to be a matter of time before he's up alongside him yet again. Eintema, meanwhile, has got a 1.1 second gap from Dennis behind him. And suddenly, and the pressure goes.
Man.
God damn, I'm so sorry, Eintema. I am so sorry. I didn't even finish the sentence. And oh man, I'm so sorry. That's 11th position. At least he's got some work to do now.
Well,
down with the
first, for the beginning, he has to defend from Julian Fries. Seems to have had a better run out of the last corner, but looks like Team Eintema has a better top speed, perhaps having a little less downforce on the car.
Absolutely.
So now Team Eintema can actually fight Sam Butters for P10.
There we go. The half-second gap has been cleared, and Fries trying to get to the inside is not going to be able to make it, unfortunately. But come on! Hopefully Eintema hasn't cooked his tyres too much. Oh, and a touch from Fries behind.
Yeah, Fries sent one down the inside, but it seems that he caught Team off guard.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think he was expecting there to be an orange car trying to get up the inside there. Up towards the front of the grid, Torregrossa is still trying to haunt Dennis for that now 4th position. And at the top of the field, the 42 car of Brosa and which car 21 of Gonzalez. Brilliantly driven, both of them, to hold this gap to the rest of the field. Purcell is the first gap above a second, and we're just gonna have to see how long they can make this work for. Torregrossa goes across the line with a 1:33.7. Fernandez, however, goes across the line with a 1:33.5. Yes. So the two teammates that won the last race as a team back together again.
Well, I think there's no doubt what their goal is for this race as well.
Absolutely. Now, are we going to see Torregrossa maybe step aside to see if Fernandez can make any better hole into the back of that orange fry, figuratively speaking, of course?
Well, I think they will actually keep calm until they get past the top 3, because as we are in a reverse grid, the top 3 would be slower than the group of Dennis, Alex and Daniel. So what I would suggest them to do is sit tight and wait until you get past the top 3, the current top 3, and then fight all out.
See, there's a problem with that though. Is in traffic, their cars aren't quick enough to be able to put those times in. The way we're seeing that, those crazy 132s that we were seeing last time out, it's just not. We're just not seeing it. 133, 6 and 8 from them that time round. They're still running a second off, so maybe these cars, the way they've got their cars set up, just not happy to be running in traffic. The low down force set up perhaps perhaps giving them a bit of trouble now that they have to run in the draft of other cars.
By the way, it seems that Lady Oscar has woken up, currently into P13, and seems to be challenging Road Tori for P12 at this moment.
Oh, excellent.
And already passed Simone Girotti, and it seems that... Oh,
Oh,
that's
yet again
1-1 for you and I.
Yep, absolutely. I'm so sorry, Lady Oscar. That wasn't intentional. Oh, that's That's a really interesting spin. Yep, that's a retirement. Such a shame.
We have Gas Binders, Clive Allen, and Sarp taking a sabbatical out of this race. So only 18 drivers currently on the.
But at the top of the field,
17.
At the top of the field, our top three is separated by less than a second now. Gonzalez in first, Brosa in second, Purcell in third, and suddenly we have a real fight on for every single position of the podium.
Yeah, Brosa has made a mistake out of the last chicane. He smashed the sausage, so his exit was compromised, and there goes Sean Purcell out. Down the outside, but
not enough pace.
Still safe. They don't want to fight, I guess, because it would mean losing time to the guys behind. Guess who is fighting? It's Alex Torregrossa and Daniel Fernandez. They're separated by less than a tenth. Look at this.
And Daniel Fernandez has made that pass to get past his teammate. That was a pass for position, and perhaps the stamp of authority on who has got the pace when it comes to the inter-team battle. Is never underestimate how much of a difference it makes being able to be faster than your teammate.
Yeah. So now we have the top 6 in a very, very tight space on the road. We have Sean Purcell just at the back of Jose Buyosa. So let's see what happens with their runs through the chicane. So these 3 will be defending from the other 3 that are behind them. So you don't want to be making too many aggressive moves, because any aggressive move can lead you into making mistakes.
Absolutely, and we still have only just passed the halfway mark of this second of 2 races. But Purcell was all over the back of Buyosa, coming down to the hairpin, and contact between Dennis and Purcell. Oh, what a mistake for Dennis to make. I do think there's any way that you could hold that in Purcell's favour, but Dennis is going to try and take the position around the outside. Bit unsportsmanlike to be running it down like that and still try and take the position. But who am I? I am simply a caster.
Yeah, well, I would penalise this, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a bit unsportsmanlike, but this opens a fight between Mustafa Eke and Jonathan Watts, I guess. They are already into P5 and P6. By the way, I loved how Daniel Fernandez and Alex Torregrossa went past that incident. They just cut across the chicane because
typical Formula drivers.
Yeah, the road was blocked. Actually, there was nowhere that they could have gone. If they took the chicane, they would have crashed into someone.
Yep.
If not a static car, then into a car that's trying to rejoin the race as quickly as possible.
Yep, absolutely.
My goodness, it's a top 4 Spanish flag.
Wow. Just in case you wanted to know who rules the roost at Barcelona-Catalunya.
That's a home race.
Absolutely, and it ain't all over yet. 13 minutes left to run, and these 2, Fernandez and Torregrossa. Names, man. I'm going to have my tongue in a knot by the end of the race. Are not done yet. There's 2 drivers in front. They still haven't got Torregrossa having a bit of a wiggle off of the chicane, but that hasn't stopped him from jumping back into the slipstream and still being able to maintain that tiny, tiny gap. Looks like 4/10. Yep. To his teammate in front, and now these 2 must work together to try and get up to the cars in front. That's probably the biggest gap they've faced this entire race.
And they're already behind Jose Buyosa, it seems to me.
McKay on the back of
There's
Watts.
another car in the mix. Looks like someone is about to be lapped, I guess.
Oh, really? Oof.
Yeah.
So Gonzalez in front. Let me just jump on board with him very quickly and see up the road. Don't see anyone on the back straight.
No, that was my mistake. I'm sorry.
No, that's not a problem in the slightest, mate. And up.
Can the top two hold their positions?
This is going to be the question, isn't it?
With Spanish Furies coming right behind them.
And what? Given a bit
what's
of
your bet on this?
I think there's too much time left. I don't think because if we look at Gonzalez and Bosa's times, their best is 1:34. The two behind were doing 2 seconds a lap. Below that, Fernandez takes the fastest lap of the race, 1:33.2. That is only going to come down as these two teammates pile on the pressure onto the leading two. The 42 goes wide. Brosa succumbing to the pressure and is going to come across the line and wide. Fernandez out. Surely that's a
safe rejoin. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Straight over the curbs and into the racing line. There's nothing that.
And he's still in the middle of the road while there's cars streaming past him. Bosa needs to learn his track manners. What has that done to Fernandez? Fernandez pushed down to 11th, and you can't put that commentator's curse on us. We've been watching this for the longest time. That wasn't us. That's what happens when you get the pressure of a driver that is much faster than you. Piling on the pressure from behind, especially a track like Barcelona. We jump back up to the leading two now, who have a ridiculous 5.2 second gap over the rest of the field, and suddenly there is a lot of space on the track, and there is a lot of space for Torregrossa to take his first win of the championship.
Oh, Dennis has come together with Mustafa Ake.
Oh,
they were fighting for P5 with John Watts and Sean Purcell, I believe. But now it's all gone. However, Mustafa Ake is right behind his teammate Sam Butters.
It did have to let him go because there was a little bit. He was just getting back up to speed when Butters was trying to come around the outside of the corner. Good. That's the kind of polite driving that we want from drivers rejoining the track. Just keep your wits about you. Look for cars that might be coming around. It's really disappointing way to end the not really end the race, as Eintema looks up the inside of Jusnik. Oh, Jusnik pushes Eintema right to the outside, and the number 7 car of Purcell is right behind as well. Eintema has the inside line coming through turn 3, but he's going to have to give up for the time being. Purcell, meanwhile, looking like he's going to be trying to make a move on one, if not both of these two, very soon. The 17 car looking confident up the inside. Turn 5, is that possible? Jusnik has given space, but Eintema doesn't have the pace, having taken the tighter line. Meanwhile, Purcell is watching from the wings, laughing to himself about how easy this is going to make it for him if he can make the pass, but runs wide, and suddenly Dennis is going to take that 7th position from him. Oh man, it's
nearly
all
collected by Sean Purcell there.
Oh man, did Purcell break himself?
Yeah.
God damn it.
But luckily he managed to avoid Dennis.
Yep, and Purcell almost getting rear-ended by the John Deere cars as they come up the hill through the rallycross part of the circuit. Which, if you aren't a rallycross fan, why on earth aren't you? Dear God, the Barcelona circuit is amazing.
We have teammate battle at the top 10. We have Mustafa Ake going against Sam Butters now. Mustafa seems to take the inside line.
And 3 wide, just pass in front as well. Oh, good grief! It's all flying off the handle already.
Is Dennis Jusnik with Team Eintema and
Dennis has just gotten past Eintema and Jusnik in the same corner.
Wow.
What a maneuver that was! And I think Gonzalez has made a mistake. Wait, what? Hang on a second.
Yeah,
Toro
there
Grosso.
was a mistake.
Ah, okay.
I waited for a perfect moment to tell this, but Alonso Gonzalez has made a mistake 2 laps ago in Sector 3. He was 6 seconds down.
Ouch.
So I guess that went for the win without a fight.
Yes, unfortunate, but again, it's the kind of thing that these reverse grids throws up. Is you're putting different levels of speed and different safety levels of setup, as well as Purcell goes for a look up the inside of Butters. Butters being forced out, not necessarily forced out, but pushed out onto the curbs on the outside, loosening up the John Day car, and then giving Purcell the place. Only 9th position though, and this is now fighting over the final championship point in the race. With Fernandez breathing down his neck, good grief.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, I would not want to be Butters right now. Oh man. That's skidding. Fernandez. Oh no, Torri. There we go. Torri just having a nightmare trying to get out of the chicane, and Vries is going to take the position. What else is there? Dennis, having made his way past Eintema and Usnik in the same corner, now setting off after Buosa?
Buiosa, I hope someone corrects us in the chat, but I'd say it's Buiosa.
I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this video afterwards, just so that we can we get all the drivers coming in getting really angry about how we're mispronouncing all their names.
Well, you can't get a more angrier guy than myself.
Ah, wow. As Ake looks for the outside around Usnik. Good grief, there was a lot of weaving going on between Ake there. I think there may be a difference in speed at this point.
And right at the front we have Dennis behind Jose Buiosa. They are pretty unmatched with pace, so Dennis has a great advantage here. Let's see where he can make the move, as Jose Buiosa makes a wider entry into the chicane and a slower exit out of the last corner. I guess this is already job done, just waiting for the perfect moment.
Depends how Buiosa blocks.
They touch actually. My goodness.
And what
These two are really pushing each other out of the way. Well, no.
It's going to be Buiosa that has the line, yep, and Dennis takes discretion part of valor. He's got another probably 2 or 3 attempts at doing that in that particular sector, but he's going to run super wide, trying to drag as much speed out of that corner as he possibly can, which is going to drop him right into the draft of Buiosa again. Now, is he going to make a big move into the hairpin? No, he's not quite happy with his braking by comparison, but he doesn't need to. The 42 car runs wide at the hairpin. There is now mere millimeters between them. The 23 car goes nice and tight through the left-hander of the chicane and takes the place. Not necessarily candy from a baby, but that was very well driven by Dennis there to take that place. Forced Buiosa into that position where he didn't have a choice but to let the McLaren-themed car through.
Well, I was hoping for a fight back by Jose, but it seemed that he didn't have the edge, and luckily he didn't risk anything by diving down the inside of Dennis. So pretty calm racing. I guess Jose knows that he's pretty much slower than the rest of the guys, but doesn't stop him from driving consistent.
Absolutely, and he's still
actually perhaps taking a better spot here. Now let's go with Daniel Fernandez. He's going down the inside of Sean Purcell, and that's not really exciting as I was hoping to be, but
that's absolutely fine. What is exciting, however, I'm not sure about what Jonathan Watts.
Hold on. Sean Purcell seems to have had a better run out of turn 2. Can he fight back into turn 3? Goes pretty much faster than Daniel Fernandez. Around down the inside into turn 4? No.
Not quite.
But perhaps a dive at turn 5. Let's see if he has the guts to do it. Not quite, actually. So seems to be okay with Daniel Fernandez taking the P9. Oh, I'm sorry, I broke you somewhere.
No, it's absolutely fine. The something that's rather interesting. As I don't know about you, but Jonathan Watts doesn't sound like a very Spanish name to me. And say what you will about the reverse grid, but Jonathan Watts has driven a very, very measured and safe race for the most part. And
Don't do it.
Okay, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm looking at Dennis in fourth. There we go.
Alonso Gonzalez just made a mistake. And,
Yes.
Last lap was really slow, so that's what I assume helped Jonathan Watts.
Yeah, that
second
is
place.
absolutely what it's going to be. But Gonzalez wandering around the middle of the track doesn't seem to be happy with the handling of the car in the slightest. I don't know if that's been a Sector 3 incident every time. Don't know if that's been a Sector 3 incident every time, but I think perhaps Gonzalez getting a little bit ahead of himself with the tyres and the car, not really happy to do what they're being told.
Let's go ahead with Daniel Fernandez, purple sector 1, and really close behind Denis Yuznic. This is probably the last lap of the race. Let's see if the leader can cross. I think he will be looking to take that P8, I believe. No, P7.
Purcell has just spun in the chicane, turn 7-8.
Good.
Yep. So little tap on the barrier on what is potentially the last lap. Just checking, it's going to be the last lap of the race.
It's tight.
It really is. Oh no, the finish line isn't at the start finish line, is it? It's like where the DRS is.
Hold on.
That's it.
We have another lap.
We have one more lap. Oh my goodness! And if anyone was planning on just doing 20 laps, suddenly there is another 19 laps. There is another problem to be had. But Alex Torregrossa is very much on the way to take his maiden win.
Yeah, and Daniel Fernandez is really close to Denis Yuznic and now Tim Eintelman. This is going to be a three-way fight for P6 as Denis Yuznic goes around the outside, tries but not sticking it. Oh, and Daniel Fernandez has a bit of an oversteer, which is also compromised with Denis Yuznic coming together with him. So that's not really what Daniel Fernandez was hoping for, but there's still plenty of lap to make things work. But let's see if there is a place for them as they're catching up with Jose Buyosa now, so nothing is over yet. And I think Jose is actually cursing Alex Torregrossa for taking that final lap. But
yep,
let's cut with Tim Eintelman. Can he take the P5 into the hairpin? Seems like
it's already cutting to the inside. There is a massive amount of pace difference from Eintema to Buyosa in front. Not going to happen in the hairpin. It's going to be a brave move through one of the tighter corners if it's going to happen anywhere. As Yuznic still maintaining that 7th from Fernandez. I don't think Eintema's going to make it work. He's been a much more polite driver than some that we've seen tonight. They will absolutely...
Alex Torregrossa crosses the line, but let's go with Sean Purcell. A slow run out of the last corner. Oof. Really close. Sam Butters behind him. Can Sam make a better run through to the last meter of the track?
Oh, man.
Absolutely not, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Oh, but Raul Tori and Simone Girotti have come together in the chicane, so Simone Girotti is now taking P12 and Raul Tori goes into P13. We have Mislav Bago into P14 and Kit 462 in P16. Correction, P15 seems like out of fuel actually. He's driving really slowly. And we have Mustafa Ake actually...
retiring to the pits, it seems.
Retiring, yeah.
Oh, so. That's a shame. No, I don't think that's... It could be fuel and he's trying to save it. Don't think that's necessarily... It sounds okay. It may just be that he's taken some damage and rather than trying to pit to repair it, he's just taken the checkered flag with damage. So that will be your finishing order. Toro Grosso will take the checkered flag. Jonathan Watts will come home in second positions. Gonzalez will come home in third. Dennis fourth. Bosa in fifth. Eintema in sixth. Yuznik in 7th. Fernandez a lowly 8th. 9th will be Purcell. Butters in 10th. Vries will come home in 11th. Girotti in 12th. Torrey in 13th. Mislav 14th. Kit 462 in 15th. And the rest of the drivers will be retirements. So with the with the on-track action, I think, done for the evening, finally, that was a massive amount of action. As who's that that's going to go and do an extra lap because he feels like it? 17th car, Eintema. Yep, 17 car is just doing another lap and spins and has all sorts of fun.
If you can call that a lap, yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. So, if you enjoyed that, then here is what, as I was getting halfway through from the start of the first race, here is what we have to look forward to over the next 10 weeks. So tonight we have the 2:30 minutes at Barcelona-Catalunya, which the fun that it was, you have just witnessed with Mali, Baćo and myself. Next week we have a similar affair at the Red Bull Ring, a lot of big stops. Everyone should be well aware of just how hard that track can be to keep it on the black stuff. And then the first of our longer 60-minute races, Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, pretty much a staple of any Formula racing, and a fantastic track at that. Then on the 1st of June we have Vallelunga, back to the dual race setup, and then Mugello, a brilliant track, a rather famous history, does Mugello. And also, speaking of famous histories, a 60-minute race at Nürburgring on the 15th of June. 22nd will be Lausitzring. He says. Yes, cool.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Lausitzring. For
two sprint races. Spa-Francorchamps for two 30-minute sprints on the 29th of June. 6th of July will be an endurance race at Monza, and Okayama to round the season out will be two 30-minute races. An absolutely astounding evening of racing.
We have a pretty nice queue in the Ready for Interview channel.
Oh my goodness, okay.
So let's not forget, I think everyone in that channel belongs to Formula 3.
Yeah, I think they do as well.
Then my apologies to King Kodiak.
Who do we want to speak to first? Then I tell you what. Let's drag the coordinator. Let's drag Sarv in just to get his first opinions. Sarv, mate, it's fantastic to see you on the grid. Not a fantastic evening for yourself, but what is your opinion of how that evening of racing went?
Hi, first of all, guys, thank you for the commentary on this race and for the stream. I think the streaming really does help the league out a lot. So really glad to have you guys join us in the comms box. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the stream played out after this. But I think overall, the first week today went really well, to be completely honest. Although it wasn't as good for me as I hoped. I think overall, the racing from what I saw in the pits for at least the second race was pretty good, especially at the start of the race on race 1. I think the drivers were very cautious and not a lot of incidents occurred. I was involved in a couple of actually one incident at the very beginning of the race on race 1. But apart from that, I think the drivers did a pretty good job of keeping it pretty tidy throughout the whole lap 1. And then I think the top 5 or top 6 had a fantastic run and just really close fighting. And I think one of the things that I was really surprised by actually was just how close the grid was.
Yeah, absolutely.
By just the sheer pace of everybody and just how close every driver was. I think we had the top 10 separated by around a second, which was ridiculous. And I was definitely surprised by that for sure. So it's a good sign for the whole season. It shows that we're probably going to have a very good season going forward, especially over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be tackling some really popular tracks.
Yes, absolutely. We've run through that. We've run through the calendar just with the stream. Sorry, Mally, you're going to say?
Well, for first, you thanking us doing the stream. I never did a more entertaining race, and it's only race 1 and 2. I think Ike will also place both of these races very high in his career. So, it seems that Formula 3 is taking a huge step in terms of competitiveness and also driver quality. So, very well done to everyone tonight, and I hope that we will hear even more in their interviews. So,
Absolutely.
huge honor to be around.
Yep, absolutely. Sav, do you want to stick around for the rest of the driver interviews?
Yeah, sure. Probably have a couple of questions myself I want to ask some of the drivers. So I'm excited to see what they say.
Are you sure they're broadcastable? Brilliant. I tell you what we'll do. We will first drag our first race second place driver and second race winner into the comm box. Alex Torregrosa, I really hope that I've been pronouncing your name right all night. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. Congratulations on your maiden win. Fantastic to see and very well driven from quite low in the field in the second race, really proving your prowess as a racer as much as someone who can just push out a hot lap. Give us a roundup of your evening.
Well, for that second race, it was like I was being extra careful to not get in trouble, and I lost the position to my teammate, but then I thought it's fine. I know he's fast. I can stay behind him and keep going, but. When we were running on the last laps, I was like, okay, I need to make the move because I need to win this race. The last race I couldn't overtake him. I need to do it in this race. But then I just saw the incident. I was like, oh, that's a pity. But well, I'll take the win.
Yep, absolutely. A win as a consolation prize is a mighty fine consolation prize. Any questions from you two?
Just congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent. Alex, a question from chat. How did you find the reverse grid, and how are you finding your AOR experience? Have you raced in any AOR leagues in the past?
No, I've never raced in ORs. I really want to, but I knew I had to be prepared enough because I know how competitive are our leagues. And to be honest, it's a surprise. I'm being able to prove that I'm on the front runners because, for example, for preparing this race, for example, if we've been training all the week, like 2 or 3 hours, all the afternoons to make it clear what was going to work, what was not going to work, how it was going to be. For example, being one behind the other because. For example, this circuit is so hard to overtake. No matter what's your setup, even if you run low on aerial, it's just so hard to. What was the second question? Sorry, the first.
How did you find the reverse grid compared to the a more traditional race where you have a qualifying?
Yeah, I guess my heart was actually racing like. Oh, it was beating so hard because, as I said before, I would just wanted to stay out of trouble, but I didn't want to like miss a lot of time or losing position. So, yeah, it was so hard. At the same time, it was so it
It
felt
sounds like you had
so
fun.
nice.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. We're just going to... Fernandez is your teammate, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Fernandez 95. There we go. We're just going to drag him into the comm box as well. Get the team conversation going.
Yeah, sure.
And
whoa!
Sorry, Fernandez. Just dragged you. You've just been dragged into the comm box. Congratulations on win in the first race, and kind of commiserations for the second race. It was going so well.
Oh yes, I was very unlucky, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Well, at least Alex won.
Yes,
There's
absolutely. Give us an overview of your evening. How have you found the AOR Formula 3 League?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with Alex. We trained together, so it was easier to defend than normal, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. You put it in the heat of battle.
The second race, I did a terrible start, but in braking, I broke very late. I don't know how. I won a couple of positions. Then I lost them again, and then I don't know how. Later, I overtook Alex again, and then I died.
It sounds like you had a tumultuous second race. It wasn't. It was all building up to that one moment where I think it was. I can't remember who it was now. Went wide in turn 1. Yeah, it went wide in turn 1, and very, very much took you out. But commiserations for that. But congratulations for race 1. Any questions from Sav and Mally?
Were you hoping for a double Spanish flag in both races?
Oh yes. When I saw Tragic miss the first corner, I thought I'm going to win this, and then he crashed like 2 seconds later.
My goodness.
Oh man.
We're now leaving Spain. Are you going to keep the same level in next rounds in Austria?
I will try. Spain is probably one of my best tracks, I believe. I think Austria is okay. We will see. To be honest, we will.
So Daniel and Alex, are you guys? Do you guys know each other in real life?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
We live in the same town, so.
So teammates in game and friends in real life.
Yes.
Excellent. A match made in heaven then. Fantastic. Brilliant to see that we've got such a strong team to lead leaving Barcelona. Thank you very much for coming to the Combox. Really nice to chat to you both. And hopefully we will see you next time out. Hope you have a fantastic evening and week, and we'll see you then.
For sure.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, I'll drag them back out. And now, who shall we speak to next? Tim Eintema, shall we?
Sure.
Yeah,
let's go with him.
There we go. Eintema, a rather interesting race for yourself. You're used to running slightly higher up in the grid from the past few seasons, but
yeah.
But a little bit of a lesson in humility, perhaps, tonight.
Yeah, no, it was just my race pace was okay. My qualifying pace, as usual, was bad, and my setup was really stable, but not really that fast. I still have to probably put a lot of work into it, and maybe learn a lot more about setups as well. And in the second race, I also just made a really weird mistake. I think I might have hit the brakes a little too hard, and then I spun out near the final part of the lap.
Ouch. So you said about setups. How much of a challenge has that been adapting from the previous seasons where there were very fixed lockdown setups to this where you have, to all intents and purposes, a free setup of the parts that matter?
Yeah, what I noticed is that it's somewhat easier to remain consistent, because you can just change these few little things that make the car behave more like I would want. But to actually get it fast, that has never been something I could really do well. So yeah, that's kind of difficult, and I think I just need to put a lot of time into it to get it right.
Absolutely.
What was the break between Season 2 and Season 3? Did you do any other racing?
Of course I did other racing, just GT3 cars and stuff like that, but not in leagues. So
Tim, so what you so obviously you were driving in Season 2 as well, and I think Season 1 too. So
yes.
What you think about the reverse grid this season? How was that different from what we had last season? What you think?
I think it's kind of it kind of has two sides. So it was fun to see some of the guys who were like slower in the first race to like be on front and actually have a good race and a lot of fighting and stuff like that. But it also caused a few incidents here and there, I think. So yeah, it kind of has like two sides to it that could be that are bad and good. So
Definitely, definitely.
Is that it? Is that everything? Cool. Tim, absolutely brilliant to have you back with us for another season of Formula 3 Racing. Hopefully we will see you next week, and I hope you have a lovely evening, mate.
yeah, thank you. You too.
Brilliant. Who's Dented Golf? That name doesn't ring a bell.
That's Julian Reese.
That name really doesn't ring a bell. Oh my goodness.
It's the other McLaren.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Right, let's pull him in for a second. Julian Reese.
Hello.
Hello there. You are live on the AOR YouTube channel. How was your evening then? Bit of a packed.
Well, it started
fraction.
off kind of good, but then yeah, I binned it in the second race.
Oh, that's upsetting.
Yeah.
But how did you find the reverse grid? Was it was that a contributing factor, or was it just one of those things?
I just spun.
Ah, that's a shame. That's a real shame. But you enjoying the return to the Formula 3 league?
This is my first time in the league actually.
Oh, cool. I should have known that. Yes, sorry. How are you finding it then? Other than
Well, the racing is great because everyone respects each other, so no dirty racing or anything, just nice and
Did you find it tricky to set up the car, and how did you like the reverse grid?
I think the reverse grid was good because the faster guys are behind, so the slower people get a better chance. And yeah, the setup, yeah, it was just a lot of time. Just drive the car and feel how it behaves, and then set up the car according to what you feel.
excellent. So looking forward to the rest of the season. Then you happy with the way that the car's set up?
Yeah, I think I'm happy with the setup because it's very stable and I like how it drives. So yeah.
Cool. No, that's fantastic. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you having fun up and down the field next time out at Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. You have a lovely evening, man.
You too.
And finally, no, we got Jonathan and then Dennis. Good grief. By the way, you feel free to pop out if either of you want to. I'll just get through the last couple and then we can call the stream. Dennis will be our penultimate interviewee. A bit of a tumultuous race evening for you, Dennis. How was that?
The first race was great. I got a great start, P5 to P3. Then I just drove alone the entire race. The second race was a bit of a mess. I could have gotten P2, but I didn't expect people to have a slow exit. Then I punted 2 people. Still P4.
It's good to be able to take the silver lining away and be able to be happy with what you get. But
Yeah.
how have you found the season so far? How are you finding the AOR League?
Great. A really good like stream and yeah, a good organization.
Brilliant. That's fantastic to hear. Mali, Sav, any questions?
Just
No, I
hoping
think from
that
my
you had
side,
a.
just go ahead, Molly. Go ahead.
Well, we had our expectations high following your performance in evaluation races. So, how did you like the challenge with the Spaniards?
I think it was really tough. P3 and P4. I think it's great for my first league race ever. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to the rest of this.
Excellent. Awesome, awesome. Well, Sav, did you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to wish congratulations to him because I think he was definitely one of the top drivers from the evaluation races and also from the time trials. So I think you've been definitely one of the consistent drivers today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys you play out against those group of Spaniards that we have on the grid. Those guys are insanely fast, so I hope you can provide us a pretty fun season over the next couple of races. So any specific plans for the Red Bull Ring next week? Do you think you're going to be making any major changes in your setup or in your strategy or approach to the race based off how today went?
Well, we practice a lot for like this race with Dented Golf as my teammate. So we're gonna do that again this week, and we just make a new setup and try to check.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you play out next week.
Yeah, we too.
Awesome, awesome. Have a lovely evening, Dennis. Fantastic to have you in the league, and really do appreciate watching you go around. Have a lovely evening, mate. Oh, he gone. He went himself. I didn't have to drag him out. It was great.
That was quick.
Awesome. Yeah. No, he'd obviously had enough of talking to us. Last through the comm box, last through the comm box, we'll have Jonathan Watts.
Hello.
A man who we are all very well aware of. How was tonight's racing for you, my friend?
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. The first race, I got an absolutely shocker of a launch, and I completely bogged down. So I dropped a lot of positions in the first lap, and I think I went down to 8th by the time I got to sort of lap 4 or 5. Yeah, I was running quite a low downforce setup, which was helpful in some scenarios, but in others, and just trying to follow cars and stuff like that, it was quite difficult. But tire management was good, which helped me at the end of the first race to make up a couple of positions, and then second race went a lot better. Capitalizing on some other people making errors and just desperately trying to keep it clean and on the track, and paid off in the end. So yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, it really did. Second place come the checkered flag, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think. I mean, I was fighting for sort of about 7th for well into about halfway through the race, and then there was a collision at the final chicane. There was another collision, I think, between Daniel and someone else, and then I was catching whoever was in second with a few laps to go, because I think they were struggling with tyre wear, and I presume they were, because then they spun out on the exit of turn 2, and then that promoted me up. So yeah, I think if it was a longer race, my setup may have been better, but yeah, still some work to do on the suspension to try to find some time through the slow corners. Final chicane was death.
Yeah, find that sweet spot. I think that's going to be a problem throughout the season for a lot of the drivers, just trying to find that cross section between stability and aerodynamic grip, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very tricky, and also with these cars, the tires as well are quite sensitive, so you can't really follow up close in the dirty air for too long without losing time. So you want good straight line speed, so you're trying to run fairly low wings, but as soon as you do that, your cornering grip, as I found out, is far from optimal. So it's quite a tricky one to get right. I mean, saw Alex and Daniel, they were miles quicker than everybody else in the first race, but they struggled quite a bit in that central part of the second race to actually get past cars, because it was really difficult to follow.
Yep, absolutely. I'm glad that was an observation that we made as well. Yeah, no, the difference in pace really was astonishing between race 1 and race 2. There was an entire lap short of the race distance in race 1.
Was it really?
Yeah, no, that's not much of a difference.
I'm probably quite lucky there because of my fuel.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, it was almost 2 laps.
Wow.
Yeah, Alex ended up getting across the line with about a second to go. So yeah, it was almost a 19-lap race. So it's a crazy difference in pace, but there was so much action all the way through.
Yeah, it was certainly tricky. I got a much better start in the second race. I think I was level with kind of second or third from fifth on the grid as we came to turn one, and then unknown to me, we were going three wide, and I was the unlucky victim that got shoved off and bouncing over the curbs and desperately trying to hold the car on the track. So yeah, it was tight racing, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Any questions from Mali or Sav?
It's always great to listen to a Brit talk about technical stuff. It's always amazing. I imagine you with a tea or something like that in a garage. Anyhow, we saw Daniel and Alex having amazing pace, but it's their home race. Do you have your hopes set for Silverstone once we come there?
I do feel a lot more confident still. So I won the evaluation race there and beat Alex barely, but I did beat Alex in the evaluation race there. So I feel a lot more confident there, mainly because I think where I really struggled here was the slow speed corners. Whereas in Silverstone, there's not quite so many of that. There's a lot more high speed, medium speed, and yeah, being my home track, it's one I'm much more familiar with. So hopefully, might be able to close the gap up to the two Spaniards by the time we get to there.
I am so glad. I am so glad you didn't mention a certain Lewis Hamilton there. Oh, god damn it. Oh man, I have my trepidation about Silverstone and the poor British drivers that are in the field tonight. I think it's just yourself actually. God damn it.
I'll try my best.
Oh yeah, Silverstone is not kind to British drivers. Not
particularly.
Multiple
fed well either.
No, exactly. As multiple generations and multiple disciplines of driving has shown, if it's gonna go wrong, it will go wrong. Gonna take the responsibility on the commentator's curse for that one. So you've got me to blame for anything that goes wrong in that race.
Bro, I appreciate you giving me a heads up.
I'm gonna take that one on the chin and just accept that's gonna be a thing that happens.
You've given me a perfect driver's excuse if it does all go wrong.
Absolutely.
Again.
But that's still some way off. There's a lot of time left to improve and get the car just how you like it.
Yeah, hopefully be able to find that extra time.
Brilliant. Awesome.
JSR, mate. It seems like you're just too quick for me. Mate, you're just way too quick, mate. You're like carrying Prema Racing on your back.
Well, yeah, well, you know, maybe with the next few races, because I don't actually know where you.
Yeah, so race one. So I think the main problem that I had was in qualifying. I qualified P17 for the first race, and the jump from single player to multiplayer was just a little bit too much for me. Given the same settings and the same exact setup that I used for like my practicing stuff, I just wasn't able to replicate the same time in quali and in the race.
It does feel different.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird because I was able to put the power down really easily coming off the exit of the chicane, of the last chicane, and then same thing for the hairpin in sector 1. But I don't know what happened, but in the multiplayer, I just for the same amount of throttle input and the steering input, the tires would just light up and I would just spin around, and I had to like completely change my driving style. So it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. I just wasn't able to get in a very representative lap during quali and during the race too. So I think the takeaway for me is I got to practice multiplayer a lot more than single player.
Or maybe we can sort something out for next race.
I'd say
practice together.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that happens before next week.
On a technical level, it may just be the difference between an optimal versus a green, or the different track conditions that the game offers. That could genuinely be the difference. If the track's set to green, then it does warm up, whereas what you probably would have been doing is doing your trial runs on optimal. So that makes a massive difference. There's it's something that we see in qualifying where the times get faster as we go through the session, because when it's on green, it does get significantly quicker over a lap. So that's probably what you found, was you were driving on optimal and the track never got to optimal conditions, basically.
I think that's a really good point. I think that's something I need to experiment with over the next couple of days, practicing for Red Bull Ring. I think the Red Bull Ring is definitely going to suit me a lot more because obviously there's less turns and less areas for me to lose a lot of time. But yeah, I think it's going to be obviously it's going to be a lower downforce setup, and I'll make sure to practice on the right settings. But I personally think next week is going to be a banger. To be honest,
Absolutely.
I think if
It's going to be a good race.
right, I think if Barcelona with all its technical portions and its super tight track was able to put on such an amazing show today, I think Red Bull Ring will be putting on something that's going to be awesome.
I'm terrified of lap 1 at the top of the hill.
You are going.
yeah.
You are
That's a
going
good
to
point.
make Mally and my life absolute hell. Trying to sit here in the comm box. There's going to be.
We'll try our best.
It's going to be 3 wide, like the entire race, going into every one
Just
of those
3?
corners. Just 3, yeah. And one on the grass going spearing off up the inside.
I'm sure we can fit more.
There we go. Right. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm probably going to have to wrap up the stream pretty soon. Jonathan, absolutely well done. Congratulations in the second race. Silver is definitely a medal to be able to take home and put on a shelf somewhere. And yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of the season.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
Cheers,
See
bud.
ya.
There we go. And Cass has dropped in, retired from both races. Unfortunately, did Cass. There you go, Cass. But so talk us through your evening, Cass. It seems like you've had a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, it wasn't the ideal start to the season, to be honest. It's going to be quite short for me. First race on turn 5, on the first lap, I got hit from behind, got spun into the wall, and basically got stuck on the grass. So that was race over after 4 or 5 corners. And then the second race, I got a bit of an issue going into, and that was, yeah, I got hit up from behind into turn 9, spun around again, got some suspension damage, and suspension damage on these cars is basically a death sentence, and I got that death sentence about 3 laps later when I spun by myself because of the damage and then got stuck on the grass again.
Ouch. So a bit of a night to forget, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew going into this race that I wasn't going to be the quickest. Barcelona is kind of a bogey track for me. I don't particularly like it, and I'm not particularly quick on it. I didn't practice a lot beforehand, and I didn't have a setup I was comfortable with. So it was all just lining up to be not a great evening, and then it all just came together, and it was kind of a nightmare. But positives going forward, because it feels like I definitely have the pace to compete with some of the drivers a bit more up the grid.
Brilliant. Well, commiserations for this evening, but positive steps going forward is always the way to look at it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, hopefully we'll see you further up the grid next time out.
You'll see more of me, I can assure you of that.
Brilliant. That's fantastic to hear, and thank you for dropping into the YouTube chat to tell us what happened as well. I really do appreciate that. It just allows us to have a complete commentary of what's happening to the drivers as they disappear from the timing screens.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you'll hear more from me during the season, whether I had a good race or a bad race. I'll see and see if I'll be able to pop in every now and then.
Good man. Brilliant. You have a lovely evening, mate, and I'll see you at
You
Red
too.
Bull Ring.
Take
Right,
care, guys.
yeah, next week.
Mally, Sav, any closing comments? Been fantastic to have you both in the comm box tonight. Really have appreciated it. Your Mally's insight, as always, is absolutely appreciated, and Sav as the coordinator for this tier, absolutely over the moon to have you dropping in to have a chat as well. What are your opinions on the evening?
Yeah, no, I think this season is going to be a lot of fun, to be completely honest. The last couple of seasons, we started this league back in the summer of 2019, and we started on the very first generation car, which is a completely different beast than the car we're driving right now. And that league was a big success as well. We had a great turnout, and a lot of competitive drivers joined the league. We had a pretty good fight at the top of the championship standings as well. And I think that kind of carried over into season 2 as well. But this season is just a whole another beast, because we have over double the drivers than we've had ever in the past. compared to season 1 and season 2. And obviously we have 2 tiers, so that's just going to allow for the racing to be a lot more closer than it has ever been in the past. And we've restructured the league a little bit this season. We've had a lot of changes to the way the races work, and then to the way the organization of the league works. And obviously we have had the chance to add the reverse grid this season as well, and which is kind of following off how the real life league actually works in the FIA Formula 3 Championship. So I think replicating that is going to be a good thing. And today was obviously a fantastic day, and I think I'm pretty confident that it's going to carry over the next couple of weeks.
Ali?
Well, if I may add up, being back in the comm box with you is absolutely satisfying, and also seeing the turn up for the league. I think I will need a towel for the next race, definitely.
Oh, I know that feeling, dear God. I've emptied about two bottles of water just trying to keep my voice in check tonight. Gonna need to do some exercise next time out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good effort. Amazing commentary, and well, it's just the beginning.
Yep, the opening round of the race, and we've had so much action, and there's not even anything on the line yet. We haven't talked about championships, we haven't talked about gaps, we haven't really talked about inter-team battles yet. There's still so much to come from this season, and the tracks that we're going to are going to be insane to watch these Formula 3 cars, and more specifically the Formula 3 drivers that we have here at AOR trying to tackle and keep out of each other's way while getting around as quick as possible.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So, to round out the stream, as always, my name has been Ike Sky. I've been joined in the comm box through these races by Baćo. As always, a pleasure. And Sarv, once again, thank you for all of the work you put in putting this together. We will see you next week out in Red Bull Ring in the Forests of Austria for round 3 and 4. Is that what we're calling it?
Correct.
Of the championship. And be prepared, because if you thought this was exciting, you haven't seen the last of it. Good night, everyone.
Night.